Hey everybody, what's up? This is Chris from T3 Handicapping, and I'm here to bring you the card for Wednesday, October 20th, 2021 from Indiana Grand. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at handicappingT3, and you can purchase the picks online at our website, t3handicapping.weebly.com. Now, today I'm going to be going over the card from Indiana Grand, but actually, as part of the Wednesday package, I do have Keeneland included as well, as I know that's a place where a lot of people will be playing today. And I'll show you how you can access that here in just a moment. But before we do that, let's take a look at how things turned out on Tuesday, October 19th. They were once again off the turf. As you can see, it was not as successful of a day for my top selections. More selections got spit out in the best bets category. It was not a great day over there, but it was overall a pretty good day in terms of wagering. So you can see that my best bets went 2 wins, 1 place, and 3 off the board finishes, which is pretty atypical for those bets. I typically have a little better in the money percentage than that. However, that being said, this number 5, April's No Fool, ended up going off at about 4 to 1 and was an absolute steal. Paid $10 to win. You can see that my A horses overall didn't pay super well to win, but we did have in total 5 of the 9 selections come out of the A category, 2 come out of the B category, and the remaining 2 came out of the C category. So every single winner was somewhere on our sheet. I know in some races we were a little deeper than others, but it's always good to see that. So you can see the win mutuals there in blue next to each name. And like I said, overall, I was actually able to string together a pretty nice day, even though my top selections were not able to be quite as successful. So, what I wanted to do here before we jump into the card for Wednesday is I wanted to just show you a little bit of our website here so that you can see some of the cool features that you can access. So, this is the main page here, T3 Handicapping. If you go to About the Products, you get sort of these different things about what's in there, but you also have this betting guide down here at the bottom. This recommends how you can put together bets from the sheets that we provide to turn them into actual, like, actionable wagers. So if you're looking for doing that, you can certainly do that. Um, and then I do keep track of my past performances as well. So you can see that since I've been keeping track, 8 of my 18 best bets have been winners. That's about a 44% clip. If you were just playing straight $2 win bets on those, you'd have minus $2.80. Over essentially right now $36 or so in play. Inversely, you've got the in the money percentage at 72%. So we're almost 3/4 of our horses are at least finishing on the board. You'll notice that a straight $2 win play show is minus 860 in the ROI. I would anticipate that's going to float pretty negatively throughout, just because I don't think playing a straight win play show is ever the way to go. I've mentioned several times before, I like to actually ladder my win place and show wagers. So let's go ahead though and let's pop back in here and take a look at what's on tap for Wednesday. So Wednesday, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. Rather than offer the 2 tracks individually, I just kind of packaged them up. And that way you can get everything for one price. So uh, to get there, you'll go to t3handicapping.weebly.com. You'll get the pick sheet and the race summaries. When you purchase, you are getting both Keeneland and Indiana Grand. So if you're planning to play Keeneland tomorrow, a great opportunity to purchase that package. The cost is $4, $2 for each track. But if you use the code Billy D at checkout, you can get $1 off. So you'll get both tracks for just $3. Billy D being the track announcer at Indiana Grand. So if you use that access code, you'll get $1 off the Wednesday package, and basically you can get it at a discount there. So please feel free to use that at checkout. $3 if you do. That is exclusive to those of you that watch this YouTube channel. I won't be posting that out anywhere else as sort of a thank you for continuing to support us watching these videos. So let's go ahead and let's jump into the card. As I said, I'm going to kind of run through it relatively quickly here. Um, and just kind of go through some of our big ideas, and then obviously tomorrow, kind of depending on what's going on with the weather and stuff, we might have some changes. I think we might finally get back on the turf, but I've said that before and I've been wrong. So 10:20, we are at Indiana Grand here. Again, I have handicapped Keeneland, but I'm not going to go over that in this spot. I kind of stick to Indiana Grand Monday through Thursday. But Thursday, I'll have a whole bunch of tracks available for purchase as well. So let's take a look here at what we've got. So you can see on our pick sheet, we've got four best bets. Shandana, who comes in at even money. Sir Michael at 2-1, Guard Duty at 5-2, and Tisway Forever is kind of my interesting one at 10-1. So that's where I'm hoping to catch a price. We'll take a look when we get into that particular race to see if that's something we really want to stick with, or if that's something where the data is a little bit deceiving. So, jumping right into things, we're going to start with race number one. We are class level 13, 5.5 furlongs on dirt. And here I ended up on the top. Two of the top three horses, I should say. I don't love Wild Tappet coming from out of it, especially with a turtle's pace up on the front end. Feels like this is going to be one where you're going to be looking for the pace horse, like Easy Silence, to get out on the lead, or potentially an against the flow horse like Deep Dish could have a good chance. But you do have some early horses or some early pressing horses that are going to be huge factors. So in this case, as I'm looking at this, my big play in this race is to be against Wild Tappet. It does have a good record at the distance, but I'm just not 100% sure that when I look here, I see the jockey trainer and the record at the distance are the two top categories for this runner. To me, that doesn't scream a horse that can win at this level. I'm going to be more inclined to take a horse that has some metrics that I think will work a little bit better. So I'm going to probably use Miss Temptation. I'll also use Guest in My Heart. Given that Easy Silence is also an A at 12-1, I will use that one. I will include Deep Dish on my tickets as well, because at 15-1 to get a B grade, if that horse wins, I don't want to be left behind. I'm okay being left behind with a B horse at less than 2-1. So we'll call it 265 with a value play on the three here. Moving on to race number two, we're going to stick with the dirt, going 5.5 furlongs, class level 10. And here you can see this is where my best bet Shandana stands 10 points to the good of every other one. You can see that Shandana is tops in speed, stamina, record at the distance, form, and pace. All of that stuff is good enough for me. The horse is an early presser, so kind of has that tactical speed. This is the one that I'm going to use. I don't really need to go much deeper than that. Um, I don't really have much interest in going any deeper on this ticket. So we're going to go through Shandana in race number two and move on. Race number three, class level 19. So we are getting to a higher level of unpredictability, going 8.5 furlongs on the dirt. We have a pace indicator that suggests this one's going to be pretty quick. With that, I've got two speed horses that came out as my top horses. I've got Johnstown Johnny and Sequoia, who are both early speed types. As you can see, one at a very good price in Sequoia and the other one not so much. So I definitely want to use those two, but I'm a little nervous about the fact that they're both going to be up on the lead. And that's where, as I'm looking at this, I'm seeing that my race flow indicates that Sequoia may have the best of it, which is a little bit surprising to me. After that, we go to Gunfighter Justice at 2-1. That's not really of much interest to me. I don't know. I think I would probably, if I'm gonna go with the 5 and the 6, they seem like the best plays. And then outside of that, it's hard. I want to say, maybe somebody like Counting Coup or Mr. Sarcastic, just to get that like clunking up. I would probably use those in like tries and things like that. Pair them with those two speed horses. Maybe include Gunfighter Justice. I'm just not sure how much off the pace Gunfighter Justice is gonna do, but I will use 5-6 most heavily on top because I think they are the most likely winners, even though their pace would suggest that they're going to kind of fit perfectly into what's already going to be a hot pace, and that could set things up for more of an off the pace type. I don't know. I don't really love a lot of the off the pace types, so maybe just stick to 5-6, or maybe just pass the race even altogether. And I think that's a really important lesson is if you don't have a good handle on what the race looks like, there's nothing wrong with saying, I'll just tuck my money and run, and I'll come back on a later race. In this one, once again, I do have Sir Michael, who is a best bet for the day, class level 19. 5.5 furlongs on the dirt with a moderate pace. You can see with that moderate pace, this one projects to be out on the front end and projects to be there fairly easily. Um, I don't really have a lot of interest in a lot of other horses. I might use the B horses as sort of backups. Maybe include the three long lived justice as well. But ultimately, when you look at this, I mean, it just seems like number 8 has a total pace advantage, and has the speed figures to back that up as well. So I'm going to be heavily through the 8, maybe a straight exacta through the 7, or maybe even a try 8-7-2 with 8-7-2 and 3. Just looking at my grid over here, using that kind of 8-7, 8-7. 3-8-2, 8-7-2 coming through that way, and just sort of kind of landing on those three horses with the 8 on top, of course. Class level 9 here, so we're looking at pretty solid horses, 8 furlongs. Now we are switching over to the turf, and I like Zanesville as well as High Noon River on the A line. Those two are well clear of the rest of the competition. It's pretty easy to see why the 4 rates out so high. Basically, every category is 1 or 2, with the exception of a couple. This is a race that is going to be altered by scratches in one way, shape, or form, because we do have 13 runners and they only run up to 12. So, seeing a number 13, showing up in a couple spots when that horse scratches out, if it doesn't draw in, or if there's a number of scratches to the inside, we could see a pretty dramatic swing here. This does project to be a fast pace. You can see that up here, 20 out of 24. And what I really like to see when we have fast paces, if I'm looking for a closer, is I like for those horses to be the horses that project to be forward. I like to see those horses be lower on the totem pole. So the horses that really like to get out there and wing it. You have the Bold Prophet at 5-1, Frontana at 10-1. You've got Jammer's Justice at 30-1. So that one's going to have to fly just to try and do something. Dragon Dew is going to fly at 15-1. Subdued may try and give it a go at 8-1. And then you've got Steward's Rules. So you've got all these horses that, if they're going to have any chance in this race, they're going to have to go, and that should set things up for the top 2 that I have here. So 4-5, pretty strongly for me on this turf event. By the way, again, the turf is actually an area where it is okay to come from out of the back a little bit. The dirt, you don't want to be leaning too heavily on that at Indiana Grand, but on the turf, you can a little bit more easily put faith in those types of horses. For me, guard duty in this one is a standalone, and you can see why if you just look at the top 5 categories: speed, stamina, class, jockey, trainer, and record at the distance. This horse dominates. Is also tied in pace, and it's a race that projects to be slow. The horse is going to be forwardly placed, probably going to be dueling it out with Baby Vincent. I look for these two to carry it all the way around, and then the rest are going to be running just to kind of clunk up for the minor placings. Moving on here to race number 7, it's a class level 15, 8 furlongs on the turf. And this one comes out to be a 4A race, which means that it's extremely competitive and likely to be really chaotic. Some of that has to do with the fact that if you just look here, you can see that the bottom half of the field with all these 30-1 shots, and frankly, to me, this is kind of a lazy morning line to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 horses all at 30-1. I just think that's kind of lazy to not distinguish between them, which ones are going to take more money and which ones aren't. But the morning lines are never all that accurate at Indiana Grand anyway. There tends to be big fluctuations. So this one, I'm seeing a moderate pace, which is why I'm giving a little bit of an edge to Rhapsody in Gray, who's going to be on the front. Miss Donna Sue is going to need a little bit of pace to help out, but Trip Charge looks like could be up there trying to keep the pace honest here. Um, you know, uh, Bickermans might actually be a little bit closer than projected. I think Rhapsody in Gray, obviously, like I said, will be out there. Um, Maya Man H Lady Cat. That one I think has shown a little bit of speed in the past. So you've got enough horses to show a little bit where somebody like Bickermans or like Miss Donna Sue seem to make sense as sort of backup type runners. Within this, if you look here, my A line is 6, 7, 4, and 11. That's two front runners, one price and one favored, and then two sort of out of the pack type runners. So I feel like I have pretty good coverage here and don't feel like I really need to go down as far as Lucy. But at the same time, 20 to 1 is enticing, especially if by this point we've seen that it is possible to make up ground. Now it's hard because we have so few turf races coming up to this, to really get a feel for that, but something to keep in mind. Again, I always like to think about, do I definitely want to use this horse? Do I want to use this horse at the right price? Or do I definitely not want to use this horse? Those are kind of the three categories I try and think of horses in as I'm going through and handicapping the card. Race number 8, and this is it for the thoroughbred portion of the card at Indiana Grand. It's a class level 15, so fairly average, 5.5 furlongs on dirt, and I have Tisway Forever rating out really well in this. Now, one thing that I'm always cautious about is when I have a horse that rates out super well. So this horse is well clear of everybody else by a significant amount. I mean, we're talking 21 points to the good of the number 8 Irish Fairy. The thing that concerns me about this is it's a moderate pace with what appears to be some cheap speed. Um, that's not super. That doesn't instill a lot of confidence in me. You can also see that the one got this rating by just sort of being middling, right? So second best, third best, third best, fourth best, third best, then two categories where it's tops, and then second and third. Whereas if we go back to some of our earlier runners, we had like they were occupying three or four of the top spots. Those horses that are occupying three and four of the top spots are much more likely winners than one who is sort of good by sort of relative degrees in every category. So for me, even though this horse rates out better than everybody else, I'm not 100% trusting of the data in this situation. I look here, the 8 and the 7 look live, based on what I'm seeing on this graph here, okay, or on my ratings column. And this is where I think our sheets are really helpful, is it's not just a power rating, but it really gives you the tools to look into that power rating and say, is this something I should trust, or is this something I need to look a little deeper into? As I'm looking at this, I'm saying this is one I want to make sure that I have some other choices as well. I'm not really 100% sure the 4 is of that much interest to me, but certainly the 8 and the 7 are. So when I actually go to make my tickets tomorrow, even though this one's been chewed out and spit out as a best bet, certainly if it hits the board, that's going to help that ROI. Come back if it wins, that will particularly help the ROI on those past performances on the website. But for me, when I'm actually building the ticket as an individual bettor, I'm looking at this, and although the grades tell me single the A and move on, the ratings and the grid are telling me go 187 and make sure that you cash this last ticket of the day. So that's, I think, a really important nuance to continue working with. Although I do offer straight up picks and letter grades, those should never be used as gospel truth. You should always be using them as guides and implementing your own handicapping with that to determine, what we're really handicapping here is the number. Is this grade correct? And in this case, I'm saying I don't think this grade is correct. Not that that horse can't win, but I just think there are others that are likely winners as well that should be elevated. And so my ticket is going to represent my opinion, not just some blanket statement made by this handicapping sheet that I bought. So always, always, always implement a little bit of your own handicapping into the picks and the data that's provided to you as well. So, with that, this concludes a really quick kind of rapid fire rundown of the Indiana Grand Tuesday card. Good luck to all of you as you get out there and as you play. And don't forget, you can purchase both Indiana Grand and Keeneland together as part of the Wednesday package. You'll get both files in there. And you can download those as many times as you need. So I will update based on early scratches at both tracks. You can download those on our website, t3handicapping.weebly.com. And remember, if you punch in the access or the coupon code at checkout, Billy D, all lowercase, all one word, Billy D. If you punch that in at checkout, you will be able to get $1 off of your purchase. So you can get it for just $3. That's two tracks, Indiana Grand and Keeneland. Good luck in all of your Wednesday plays, and we'll see you back here for the Thursday card analysis.